It's just gone 6:30 Central African time, and we'll be bringing you all your business news right here on Prime Biz. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Bongani Bingwa. But first, let's take a quick look at the day's top stories. The situation in Eshowe in KZN remains tense this evening. Violence erupted after the killing of a community member. Former Northwest Deputy Police Commissioner General William Mpembe and 8 subordinates have been released on bail between 2,000 and 5,000 rand. SAFA presidential hopeful Ace Ngobo has pulled out of the race, leaving incumbent Danny Jordan as the only remaining candidate. It comes just days after Ngobo called on FIFA to place the Football Association under administration. Well, welcome now to Prime Biz. Now, our first order of the day, of course, is the number of the day, which is 113. Our number of the day is 113 because South Africa ranks 113 out of 114 countries in the Fostering Effective Energy Transition report. This is a report launched by the World Economic Forum. It ranks 114 countries on their ability to provide affordable energy in an environmentally sustainable manner. South Africa faces an uphill challenge in ensuring a secure, sustainable, reliable and affordable energy future for industry and society at large. The country meets more than 90% of its electricity demand through coal, which also results in high per capita emission levels. But with the challenge of rising demand, there is an immediate need to further diversify the fuel mix and to create a positive environment for more investment to meet the energy infrastructure demands. The report also finds that worldwide, progress towards environmental sustainability has stalled, and energy prices went up in more than half of the countries surveyed, despite an overall fall in fuel prices. Sweden, Norway and Switzerland lead the rankings table, while the world's two largest economies, the United States and China, score highly on their readiness for energy. But we find ourselves right at the bottom of the index, one notch above Zimbabwe. Well, we're joined now on the line by Pedro Gomez, who is the head of oil and gas industry at the WEF, and he joins us via Skype. Pedro, good evening to you, and thank you for joining us. Firstly, I suppose, tell us what exactly is the report about? I mean, we're seeing that much progress has been made towards environmental sustainability, but there are still some challenges ahead.
Thank you, Bongani, for having us and the opportunity for the World Economic Forum to share what we are doing in the energy transition space. First and foremost, this is a framework of analysis on energy transition. We are looking at how energy systems nationally are delivering on the 3 key imperatives that we have identified, the energy triangle, as we call them. Those 3 are energy sustainability, energy access and security, and of course the contribution to inclusive economic growth and development. And besides this, we decided to add something quite interesting that many of the other indices that exist out there have not done before, which is looking at the readiness for energy transition. And in that sense, I think we are adding to the body of knowledge and to the processes of decision making, whether it's business or society or governments, when they're looking at energy transition.
More than half of the countries surveyed, we're seeing the cost of energy going up. Why is that the case when fuel prices are falling?
I think commodity prices are definitely an element that play a role in how electricity prices or gas prices are sold to the residential and industrial users. But every country has different pricing policies. So while they are an element, they are not the only one. So that's why you can see a disparity there. They are not one-to-one connected.
South Africa faces...
If I may... Please go ahead.
Thank you, Pedro. South Africa faces a number of critical challenges, particularly the need to diversify. But how on earth did we find ourselves so close to the bottom, only above Zimbabwe? What are we doing wrong?
I think it's not about doing something wrong. I think we do see a challenging situation. There are elements, you mentioned the carbon intensity of the energy economy. That's certainly something that we, in our experience or in our calculations, that creates a low score. But more than anything, what we are trying to do with this work is to encourage countries to take a hard, long look at the energy systems nationally, and to do that in a multi-stakeholder manner, to have all the relevant actors involved in this debate, so have the government, have the business side, have society, of course, involved, to get together and define what is the vision of the energy system they want to achieve, and they have to build a roadmap. And that roadmap, of course, can take many shapes. There are many countries that are doing well, and there are of course lessons to be drawn from them. But of course, a significant element of national adaptation needs to be done so that in the local setting these policies make sense. And we are not trying to prescribe what South Africa or any other country should do, but more than anything, just that they need to be looking at their national system, how to achieve a vision, and what the roadmap needs to be done. And of course, there are unintended consequences, and you need to be very careful about those as well.
Pedro, one of the things we have seen in recent years is a flirtation with nuclear. Does that do us any favors? I think,
again, it's every country, they will have their own priorities, their own opportunities. I think what is important in today's world is that the portfolio of opportunities is larger than it has ever been before. There are a number of technologies that are advancing very fast. The cost of renewables, of course, is dropping significantly rapidly. And what South Africans need to do, again, in a multi-stakeholder manner, is to define what's best for them. Whether that is nuclear or other sources, I would leave it to your country to decide, but definitely look at what are the options available. And if I may add something, I think it's critical to understand that the digital transformation of the economy and of this energy system in particular brings many opportunities that were not in the past, that were not possible in the past. So looking at energy efficiency gains from digital transformation is something that definitely should be looked at in the South African context.
Pedro Gomez, thank you for your time. That's Pedro Gomez, the head of oil and gas industry at the World Economic Forum. Now, to further unpack this discussion, I'm joined now by an energy expert who's going to be in conversation with me as we look at what this report implies from a South African perspective, and we're going to try and make sense of these numbers. Energy expert Chris Yelland now joins us in studio. Chris, good evening to you, and thank you for joining us. I imagine a report like this doesn't surprise you very much.